All right, guys, welcome back to Boxmining here. This is the first time we're doing this stream. So this is a crypto with friends stream. Let's see, just a bit of echo here, but we're good. So today we got a lot of people talking about crypto. The whole point is to be as general, as broad as possible, but also as focused as possible to find out what is the latest digs of everything going on. We have a truly global audience and a truly global cast here. We got Jeffrey Kadakis from TrustSwap, based in Canada out there. We got John from Genesis Block, based in Hong Kong. We got Nathan in the States. He's Nathan from Cryptonaut. So say hi, everyone.
What up?
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for having us all on. It's gonna be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah. So obviously the whole market is super exciting. What we're going to do and cover in this episode is just to cover the markets in general, as always, and then tell you guys a little bit about and some insights about what's up with everything that we're doing, what we're following, what we're paying attention to, what we're excited about, because this market, man, yesterday's it was crazy. Obviously, of course, for me, I'm super tired because you can probably see by my eye bags. I had 3 hours of sleep yesterday. It was a lot of work. Especially we'll talk about that in a sec. It's like crypto, right? Crypto never sleeps, and that's a good and a bad thing. So let's take a look at the markets first. I'm going to do a quick screen share and show you guys what is happening on the market front. And we also have the chats going on here and going on live. So let's go it. And obviously, it's my first time using StreamYard and doing something like this. I hope you guys really enjoy content like this. I know it's a kind of a surprise stream for everyone here, but I'm learning how to use StreamYard. It seems to be such a really cool software to get everyone up here. So I do obviously appreciate it if you guys can smash up the likes down below. It really does help the channel grow. And of course, click the subscribe button. You'll be updated with all the live streams and everything going on. So let me do a quick screen share about everything that is going on here. Boom. Oh, man.
Clean.
That is clean. Just look at that. I just want to do a quick refresh. What do you guys think? I mean,
I'll tell you, market mentality and market sentiment sure is volatile, just as volatile as the coins are, is what it feels like to me. It was only a few days ago, or even a day and a half, when Bitcoin was below 50,000. And you go on crypto Twitter and everyone's, playing the violins like they're on the Titanic going down with the sinking ship, talking about I'm buying back in at 38,000 and getting ready for all this. And, we see a little bit of a pump back to the upside. And now everyone's like, oh yeah, we're heading right to 150K. ETH is going to flip Bitcoin. So it's certainly been fun watching the crazy emotional volatility of crypto Twitter. I think a lot of that has to play into maybe clickbaity stuff, but it certainly is interesting to see how fast market mentality can shift in my perspective.
Absolutely. It feels like a year since last week, right? I think people were freaking out last week. There was serious blood on the markets. I think it was only Friday, right? How many days ago was that? 4 days. There was serious blood on the markets. People were projecting these super low numbers. Oh, we're gonna crash at 38K. That okay, but anyway, so we're up. I mean, Ethereum's all-time high right now, right? Look at that. I think we saw 27,000 yesterday. I was getting notifications nonstop that ETH was just moving. Holy crap.
Which is really interesting to me too, because it's not just ETH that's moving, but it's all of the ETH competitors as well. Solana has had a ton of movement lately. I think today, Matic, what's now Polygon, is absolutely exploding. Obviously, Binance Smart Chain, that's just been the behemoth of the last 3 months or so. It's been staggering to see how all of the smart contract platforms, to me, they're just having an incredible run. Which is great, because I think it disperses a lot of the attention away from ETH, and now you don't have to pay $200 for a transaction fee. People are getting a little more distributed across the chains.
And also, I think the good thing about ETH itself too is that ETH gas prices are finally coming down a little bit. You can see, it's only 47 Gwei to send a transaction right now. So in terms of a transaction, it's only $3, not $16.
They're basically paying you.
Exactly. How about John on your side? I mean, are you seeing a lot of action? You're in Genesis Block, and you've seen a lot of action in Asia. We're talking about Asia bulls coming in. What's happened on your side, man?
I mean, I think it's pretty funny how every time there's like a little bit of a dip, people are like, oh, cryptos are canceled, guys. We're going to zero. You know what I mean? Everybody kind of turns on you. Then a day later, like, just kidding. We're actually, buy the dip. Yeah, I think it's kind of cool to see that ETH is finally starting to perform the way we expect it to. I mean, this season I've kind of just been a little bit disappointed that like ETH has just been kind of a snail compared to Bitcoin, whereas like this recovery, Bitcoin's still like 10K below where it was last week, whereas like ETH is pushing all-time highs. I think that's like a really good sign in my opinion, just because all of us ETH holders have been like, when is it going to be our turn? You know what I mean? But I think by and large, like there's
So you
a lot
get a
of
bit
really
of
cool...
impatience, even though we're at an all-time high, $2,633. You're impatient. You're impatient. You're like, yeah, let's move
It should
this.
have been
Let's move this.
5K.
That sticker's
Got it.
burning a hole in your wall.
It is. It is.
How about the trader side? Like, are you seeing like a huge movement of Koreans coming in? Because like we've been talking about kimchi premium right now. Like, how's that happening? How's their
So I
take?
mean, that's definitely something that comes into play. I mean, we actually just produced a little bit more content on the kimchi premium, but this to us is kind of like a big sign of like, okay, this is like the cycle is repeating itself from like last season from 2017. I think Dogecoin was a big like flag for like, okay, retail's aping in. Plus the fact that the kimchi premiums through the roof. I think if we didn't have COVID, we would probably see people flying in from Korea like we did last season, lining up to buy Bitcoin in Hong Kong because the kimchi premium is so significant. So I think, I mean, these are all kind of good signs, but it's just a matter of like how long this cycle will last. And I think one could speculate that because there is so much institutional money, this will last longer. Not financial advice.
It's a so right now the premium is a little bit weird, right? So let me throw the premium. I think this is the latest article on this. So just to tell you guys what's going on. So like for the longest period of time, there wasn't even a kimchi discount, right? So this is all the way up in early this year. Like crypto was trading for less in Korea than the rest of the world. Right. So if you look at the chart here, this is 2021. So 2021, 2021, there was even a discount at some point, and then all of a sudden we saw almost a 10 to a 20%. It peaked out at around a 20% premium. Right. So the Koreans were paying 20% more for Bitcoin. They're willing to buy for more, but obviously that's coming down a little bit because I'm pretty sure there's two reasons, right? Do you think that this is because Koreans are buying less, or do you think the arbitrage opportunities are the arbitrators are coming in and arbing the price out?
Probably more arb than anything else. I think people are getting smarter and smarter at taking advantage of arbitrage opportunities, especially after 2017. The premium was like 40% at one point. So I think anyone who didn't really kind of like study up on that and figure out, okay, how can we take advantage of this the next time it happens? So yeah, it has gone down a bit, but I think more than anything, it's the people coming in and taking advantage of the arbitrage opportunities.
Yeah, and just to relay some experience as well. So the reason why there's a Korean premium or the kimchi premium, so to say, is because it's very hard to move money in and out of Korea. So what was happening was that there's a certain amount of fiat you can transfer out of Korea. So because the Koreans really want to buy Bitcoin, they're willing to pay that extra, even though it's cost like maybe 10-20% more. So what people were doing back in 2017, and I had a picture of this, right? People were lining up outside of Genesis block with like suitcases full of cash. Like that's the only way they can move money out, right? Because they can't bank transfer that out because there's a certain limit of how much money they can transfer out. So they brought cash over. I was so close to posting it, but I thought, for the safety and security of everyone involved, like we don't want people getting knifed outside of Genesis block or whatnot. So that was 2017, obviously. So we saw this, like we're seeing this huge opportunity. I think Korea just all of a sudden moved back to bull mode, right? Like that's if you're looking for a sign, that would be it. Obviously, the opportunity is getting arbed out. I think there's a little bit like the way I saw it was like there's like you search for kimchi premium and everyone's like saying, oh look, regulators are coming in. That's actually a good sign. Like when regulators try to come in, that's because there's so much heat, right? Like they're trying to slow it down, but like it's hard, and we've seen the cycle coming in again. But this is the start of the Korean craze, so I'm pretty excited for that. how about Nathan on your side? You know, like you're in the States. How's everything doing? How's everything going there? Like, do you see Doge everywhere? Is that a thing?
Yeah, Doge is definitely a thing. I get hit up by a ton of people all the time, and I feel like I'm starting to become like the new like B-list celebrity person that everyone wants me to interview. So I've been interviewing a lot of people. I've interviewed the guy from One Republic. I used to listen to him as a kid. He's doing an NFT. Akon is launching an NFT. Mike Dean, the producer for Kanye West, is launching an NFT. Everybody is literally launching an NFT. It's kind of a little crazy. I wouldn't say we're at the top, but I'm just a little wary that, literally everybody is trying to launch an NFT. And I get it. NFT is it's like the technology is great, and but at the end of the day, there's this debate, right? There's this debate between the everyday artist and then the debate between a celebrity who already has a community. So the everyday artist is having trouble getting their NFT sold or their art noticed, and the celebrities are coming in and just swooping it up. So that's kind of what's going on. It's all about NFTs here. So far, like everywhere you go down the street, people are asking about NFTs, and especially here in Los Angeles, it's all artists. So it's just NFT. Literally, that's the only thing that people talk about.
I think so. I think like all that sudden, there's that sudden interest as well, right? Like, so yesterday, you guys know I was very involved with the Refinables launch, and there were so many people just messaging and trying to get in, and there's so many good and bad things. Like yesterday was super busy because it was a launch and it did well for some people, it did not do well for other people, and obviously there was a delay, and a lot of people, the bots and stuff went crazy on this, right? So something that we realize is that like it's a super speculative market, and people we were receiving messages nonstop from people trying to either get in or work, and like these big names, I think like it's just totally nuts, right? So I think it's good that people it's finally getting that mainstream attention that it is, but also I think the mainstream needs to understand that this is super early, and the stuff here is like super solid. But I think something that I need to emphasize is that we're super early, and the amount of hype sometimes is just insane. Like I think that's what I would say would be a take home. It's like the insanity of the hype is just nuts. But yeah, I'll talk a little bit about relay some experience about that later as well. But so mainstream. I mean, someone sent me a video. I'm not about this earlier as well. Someone sent me a video and said, like literally, they're willing to get a pie in the face for Dogecoin. So is that the mentality coming in? Like is that I don't know. What's your take on this? Is that too crazy? Are we at the too crazy? Is this too high then for you guys?
I think the two things that are coalescing right now really well are the two aspects that I think are bringing a lot of new people into crypto. And I think in the DeFi times, the total market cap of cryptocurrency, it stayed relatively stable. A lot of things were just getting traded around like kind of a hot potato. But now what we're seeing is the total crypto market cap is increasing dramatically. And I think a lot of that is because, the NFT space is incredibly hot. And although it seems like everybody and their cat is in the NFT space right now already, it's like you say, it's just beginning. Like Mark Cuban is launching an NFT platform. Gary Vaynerchuk is getting on. Different sports teams are launching NFT products. It's really expanding. And then compound that with now, I would say this was the last 10 days was just meme coin central, from Dogecoin to SafeMoon to, we were chatting before the call here, and it's just, there are hundreds. And you go on Dex Tools and they're just scattered. You look at the top 10 and you're like, these are all meme coins that have launched within the last 48 hours. So it's bringing a lot of new people to crypto because it's exciting. They get to get quick gains in the meme coins, which everybody loves. It's more like kind of like a gambling casino. But then the NFTs, it's like, hey, here's an opportunity for anybody to easily access, the value of cryptocurrency. And NFTs are just collectibles that are essentially unable to be destroyed, which makes a ton of sense. Gary Vaynerchuk he's like the collector guy. And he's all about NFTs. And I think that says a lot just on like a real small microcosm. NFTs aren't going anywhere. And especially when, celebrities or high profile artists are getting in, you know, their name, their weight, it holds a lot of value. So it's gonna be exciting to see where it goes.
And I think so. And just to really quickly add to that too, like it's finally accessible for a lot of people because Bitcoin itself is like it's quite hard for people to grasp a concept of, but people understand collectibles like just like that, right? Pokemon cards, boom,
Yeah.
right? Comic books, boom. It's like it's immediate, right? It doesn't take like, oh, here's the history of money, ha ha ha. Let's go through. Let's talk about the history of money first. So I think that's a lot easier. I just want to show you a clip that was sent to me. So let me see if I can play that very quickly for you guys here.
Pie yourself in the face, get $20. Let's see who does it.
Interesting. This is a free $20 in Dogecoin right here. Dogecoin to the moon.
Dogecoin to the moon. I like the way he ended it.
Hey, that's $20, yo. I ain't gonna hate
Yeah.
$20. Get it how you can.
Well, hey, if you keep holding, that's going to be 2 million real soon.
Man,
But it's literally like what $50 billion market cap out of air. Like one of our founders, like people were hitting him up on his Facebook. He's like, don't buy it. I actually just opened up a very like leveraged short position. He ended up being right because this is like 50 cents and it went down like 20 whatever cents. But I mean, it's kind of concerning because it's like one of the few cryptos that has like no tech. You know what I mean? It's just memes.
But I think it's easy for people to understand. So I feel like, you know, like I might feel like a boomer here, you know, like the next generation, like I mean, like at the risk of sounding super old, right? But like the next generation, they're not interested in like the traditional stocks like Coca-Cola, you know, like you look at Warren Buffett's list. Oh, look, Kraft Foods, right? Like they're not interested in Kraft Foods. They're interested in Doge. Right, so I think there's that cultural shift as well. I'm not saying it's young and dumb, but I think there is certainly a lot of value here. I feel like there's the next generation is very willing to risk a lot more. I think that's the best way to probably describe that situation where it's like they're much more willing to risk a lot more, and they're investing at a much younger age. Like I think like I've talked to a few people as well, like people especially my parents' age, they only start investing when they're 40 and 50 and you know, like they're having their life lessons now. But like I think with crypto, like what crypto and the whole scene is teaching people is like, okay, look, here's a taste of what investing is like. Obviously there's going to be bad choices out there, but at least like I'm more in the philosophy of like just learning early is better than later. And I think that works. You know, are you guys all Doge holders? Like Doge coach the move.
I don't hold any, but I'm a huge supporter of it. To be totally frank and honest about it, I think it's great. I get that it is just a joke, but you know, I think it's currency has its value derived from people agreeing that it has value. You know, the US dollar has value because people agree. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin is if people get behind a concept, that's what gives it value. Just like an NFT and an artist or whatever collectible. You know, people just need to agree. And so, you know, if people like this concept, Doge is king of the memes. And just like Bitcoin is king of the store of value, and I don't think it will be dethroned really ever. In terms of meme coins, I think, you know, Dogecoin, it's going to stay number one.
Yeah, I think you just have to take it for what it is. You know,
Yeah.
like I bought it in 2017 for like 0.003. I bought it for the sole reason that it was going to be a joke. Like, this is just a joke. It's just for fun. It's something completely different. And it's definitely inflationary. You know, like all the tokenomics are, you know, there's no like true utility. But I think the community behind Doge is really strong. People love it, you know, and it's all about jokes and having fun. It's just different from Bitcoin. I feel like Bitcoin is very like kind of serious. I don't know, it's just like a serious vibe. But with Dogecoin, people it's just fun, memes, you know, ape, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it does really stress the importance of narrative, though. You know what I mean? More so than like tech. You can have really great tech, but it might not perform as well as Dogecoin because, like you said, community and like the narrative behind it really drives the value of it and adoption.
Yeah. And the longevity too, I feel, you know, like Bitcoin's been around the longest, therefore it has, you know, the powerhouse position. Ethereum has been around the longest for smart contracts, and Dogecoin has been around since 2013 as well. So it just that brand recognition over time has just built it up incredibly strong. If you go to, CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko and look at the top 100 projects, 80% of them have been around for a significantly long time. Like, to get into the top 100 or these top ranked coins, you need to be around for a long time. It's not like you can just launch a coin and boom, you're in top 100 these days.
Yeah, and I think there's two things. I mean, I think back in 2017, I would have shaken my hand and say, like, what's the value of Doge?
Right.
Like, there hasn't been development for such a long time. It takes away from Bitcoin and everything. Also, there's like some red flags in Doge too, right? And I think we actually need to be quite honest and clean about that, because the top wallets of Doge, I think the top 10 holders of Doge control a significant significant portion of Doge's entire market cap, right? So there are these problems here, but I think this year something I'm realizing is that the self-marketing nature of Doge is super strong in that sense. So I feel like that's kind of my shift in mentality. I feel like I'm moving away from the idea of maximalism. And it's helping me with it. Like, I think I did this crazy trade with Doge Moon, right? Like, I don't think I would have ever done that in 2017. I think I would have been like, you know what, this is the stupidest thing in the world. It's just a meme. It has no value whatsoever. Like, I'll be like salty. But this year I'll say, you know what, let me enter a position when everyone is thinking it's dead. And then boom, it took off, right? It's like it literally went crazy. So I'm a little bit conflicted on how to cover something like that, but I feel like everyone's gonna learn. I think people who are in memes, they need to understand they're in meme coins as well. But that's life, right? So okay, so let's quickly move into what you guys are into. To explain what's happening, what you guys are excited about, and just generally chat about that. I mean, obviously, just a lot of questions. Questions are on the YouTube, so let's take some turns to tell you guys like what you guys are excited for, what you guys are looking into, and what's exciting for you.
Cool. I'll start. So I'm really into BSC projects right now. I'm looking for projects that are solving a major problem. So for one is like, the Oracle, BSC Oracle. So essentially it's like Chainlink, but on BSC. I'm pretty excited about that. 1 million NFT.
Nathan just...
It's basically, oh, just cut out.
Yep, you cut out a bit.
Okay. I think you're good now.
Yeah, so 1 million NFTs. It's 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. It's like from the 2005, like the guy made like a 1 million pixel homepage. He's selling .com space for everybody, and I thought that was like pretty cool. And then they did that into NFTs. And then I was just talking to my buddy. He's a filmmaker, and he's just finished during the pandemic. He made this film, and he has a whole art book. He has like a ton of stuff. He has over like 100 million views on YouTube, and he just does like legit films. And he wants to turn this art book, like this concept and all this art, like the whole director's lookbook, into an NFT. And so I told him you should launch it on, different. I introduced him to Rarible, OpenSea, Refinable, and just kind of put him in touch. And I think it's like really exciting, like somebody, he can finally like put his art out there for people and just like really do some fun stuff. So those are the projects I'm really excited about.
Nice. And I think like so. Let me just address some of the comments here. So a lot of people wanted me to talk about Fi, and I think I need to probably talk about this a little bit as well. So first and foremost, the team has been working super hard to deliver NFTs on the Binance Smart Chain, right? So something that's about Refinable is I've been following this team for like a long ass time, right? It's not something that came out of blue. Let me just share the screen with you guys here. It's about art. It's got a lot of depth behind it. Like I was there since like when we're talking and trying to secure the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem investment, right? That was how early I was there to try to follow and just try to get the good product. And it was not easy, right? Because like even going through the whole entire process to get the investments, like people were like asking like, okay, can we see the tech demo? Can we see the token minting process? Can we see the contracts do everything? So that was one crazy ride, and then getting this to everyone. But now, obviously, the launch yesterday was not super clean. I think that's a super understatement for everything. Like the entire, like I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, right? I think that's quite important here. But even for us to send a transaction at that time of the launch, it was crazy. And during the time launch yesterday, so yesterday it launched and the price went crazy, right? The price discovery period was just utterly insane. And what was happening was that even for like I was looking at Nick, right, and he's like frantically trying to make sure all the multi-sigs worked, and going through that, confirming those transactions took ages. So there was a lot of delay, and so what happened was that it was a lot of concentration, a lot of delay, and like the price discovery phase was just super unclean. So I won't comment too much about it. I think that's for the team to do the postmortem analysis on. But where like the whole project is, I feel like a lot of people are disappointed. I think I've seen in the comments a lot of people were disappointed from this. But the key thing is like this whole project is meant to be for the long run, right? And the stuff that's being built is freaking amazing. So I feel like it's such a shame. Like yesterday night I was just feeling like this is the saddest moment, right? Because it's such a shame because there's so much that was done in terms of both the tech, in terms of building everything, and for like a few hours of just crazy insanity, and some things just went too insane, and so it just felt like for me, I personally felt sad. Like I haven't touched anything like from a Refinable front. Like I feel like it was just like it's just sad. It's disappointing to see things going too insane and people calling out, like people are like, oh, this is a scam. It's not. It's like, dude, like the tech here is crazy. Like so what I feel like here is like I kind of admire Nick. Like after Nick, the CEO, being the CEO of the company, he went straight to do the talk on Binance. There was a discussion on the Binance.com they're hosting is talking about NFTs. So he's like working, he's plowing, he's working his ass off right now, right? Like the launch is still good, like for a few investors, but like for others, it's hard. Obviously, like right now, like it's sitting at a crazy valuation, right? So he's doing his he is like working, like we're all like putting that pressure on him. Like we're all like, yo, you gotta work. Like you gotta work like Jeff, So I think
Not
that's
sustainable.
You gotta work like Jeff, okay? Like pull a TrustSwap, okay? So that's the current take on everything here. So I think I just want to address the comments there, and like the stuff there is just crazy. So, anyways, move on. Let's move on from that. Jeff, do you want to talk a little bit about TrustSwap as well? Like, I think this is one of those situations where you worked your ass off for, right? Like you fought tooth and nail for this. Like how did you manage to pull this off? Because like I think a lot of people were throwing shade at you at the start, saying, oh, there's like TrustSwap's built nothing, right? Like, oh, there's nothing there. And then it was a situation where you just worked your ass off and delivered on like multiple fronts. It's freaking insane. So how did you even manage to pull that off?
Yeah, and to kind of, I think this ties in perfectly with the Refinable story, is that at the beginning there's always hiccups, there's always little mistakes or blunders or whatever. But if you're actually looking to support a project long term, it's really irrelevant what's happening at the beginning. You just slowly get in. Anyways, I guess like this is a long-winded way of saying I really empathize with what happened with Refinable, because it's not uncommon to have glitches and hiccups on a launch day. That's very, very common. And that doesn't change the future outlook of the project at all. If anything, it motivates the team to work harder, to do the community right. And anyone who's getting invested in or participating in Refinable, they should be participating because of the long-term vision. And that's the people that you want around anyways. And, the noise is always the loudest from the complainers. Whenever there's a small issue that happens, or like, for example, the TrustSwap Telegram room, it feels like it explodes with, FUD or however you want to call it. But really it's, 10 people just causing a whole bunch of racket. So, probably I'm not privy to exactly what all happened with the Refinable launch, but I can say, if the team is solid, and it seems like it definitely is, I think there's a strong future ahead there. And then, yeah, for the TrustSwap side, it's pretty much the same. We've had our hiccups, we've had our blunders, we've had our PR mistakes, but it's just the test of time. You just keep going, you keep working, and you keep expanding and scaling. And that's exactly what we've done. And our team has grown from 3 people to essentially 50 people more in the last 9 months since launch. And we've done some pretty good things, and we have really cool products and services coming out actually at the end of the month. So it's a really exciting time for us, and I think the word is just perseverance and making sure that as many people in your community are happy, but also realizing that it's impossible to make everybody happy. So
Exactly.
yeah, and then rolling with
But
the
look
little
at this.
bugs.
But look at this. Like I'm sharing the TrustSwap screen right now, man. Dude, like how I don't think people who saw TrustSwap early on would have dreamed of this day, right? Where the locked token value is $1.4 billion of locked tokens on there. There's even locked liquidity of $75 million. I mean, that's insane, right? Because this is not just tokens, right? This is not just tokens. This is paired with this is token LPs, right? So at least half of that is in like stables or in ETH or like this is insane, right? Like how did this even come about? Like I guess like for people who don't know what TrustSwap is, can you describe what this is and what's happening here?
Yeah, so overall, TrustSwap is like a Swiss Army knife, is how I like to think of it. And this is kind of like one of the tools on TrustSwap. So this does token locks and liquidity locks. So, if you're participating in a project and they say, hey, listen, our team tokens or advisor tokens vest at this schedule, well, prove it. Lock it in a smart contract, put it on TrustSwap smart locks. So and it's free to do. So there's no reason that they shouldn't. So that's, it's a great service. And I think a lot of teams are opting to use it. And that's why, the value is so high. And the same with liquidity locks. A big issue that plagues crypto these days is, people add the liquidity, then they pull it out. That's the classic rug pull or liquidity pull. So, this just adds an additional layer of security for people who are participating in different projects to feel secure. And looking at the screen right now, it's giving me eye cancer right now because there's so many bugs.
Do you want to share yours? Do you want to share?
No. Your screen is good, but like there's all these broken images and like the top is. So anyways, we have a couple front end bugs. The back end is just clean and beautiful as always. But anyways, that'll all be fixed in about a week and a half. And I think you'll see that the locked value is actually significantly higher than it actually is. Because what we did is we were ETH only. Now we integrated Binance Smart Chain. We integrated Avalanche. We're going to have some more coming on very shortly. And so just that new chain integration just caused our database to be like, whoa, it's pulling a lot of data. So long story short, we're kind of reworking the entire backend to make it smooth. But anyways, that's nerdy stuff nobody cares about. Long story short.
Well, I care about it. I care about it. I'm going to put my hands up.
Yeah. But yeah,
nerd out, man. Nerd out.
Yeah. One of my favorite kind of the cool stat that I like about this is 1 year ago today, there was significantly less than $1 billion locked in all of DeFi. We're talking about Yearn Finance. We're talking about Uniswap, all of that combined. And, TrustSwap's doing 1.5 billion right now. So that's really crazy. I'm super honored to have that. And the service is free, so anybody can use it whenever they want. It's great.
It's crazy.
I think this is like, Nate, you want to go?
Yeah, well, I just want to add something real quick. I remember when I first heard about TrustSwap, I was like, yo, this is revolutionary. Like, you can launch a project without going through a centralized exchange. That was like pretty unheard of at the time, like that was, and all these other launch pads popped up afterwards. I think you guys were pioneers, and I was like, yo, this is something special. So that's all I wanted to say.
Totally, yeah. We definitely did kick off the launchpad season. Binance was like the launchpad, and there were a couple other IEOs like KuCoin was doing some. But in terms of like projects doing launchpads, thanks for recognizing that, because I think we were kind of first to the punch, and now it's just exploded in the space. And I think again, kind of how we were talking about earlier about Bitcoin being first and Dogecoin being first, and them solidifying their position because of their longevity. I think TrustSwap has had the luck or the honor to have that first position, so it's kind of been a nice firm name in this space. So it's pretty cool now. We have our own category on CoinMarketCap. I was stoked to see that. I'm like, oh, I remember 9 months ago when getting listed on CoinMarketCap. I'm like, so sweet. Now we have our own category. So things have been progressing very fast, and they're really picking up quickly. Some crazy stuff coming soon.
Yeah, and I think the mint feature is the one that I'm super excited for. And I think it's a lot of it makes sense now. I think a lot of times like with this, like it doesn't make sense at the start, but like if you look at like how it works, where like now you can go and click in a project and say, okay, well look, what are the team tokens? When are team tokens coming out? When is the liquidity locked? I mean, this is the profile for the TrustSwap token. You guys have like 1 day left, so you got to lock more, right?
Relock it, yeah.
relock it. So this is where you have your tokens locked in to make sure that the liquidity is there. Then you have the circulating supply and when the unlocks are coming. So depending on which project it is, it also shows like when the tokens are coming up for the particular members. I think this is like key data for anyone who's interested in a coin, because you need to know when the investors are getting their coins, when the team is getting their coins. All right, so you need to plan around that. That's the fortunate and the unfortunate, but there's a whole point about transparency, right? So I think that's super exciting. I mean, I've been talking about Mint nonstop because I think a lot of people don't realize the power of Mint, because like you can literally like click a button and mint token. So I was telling Jeff, like, you're literally like when this feature comes, right, you gotta like show the crap out of it, right? Like,
yeah. If you think meme coins are here now, just wait until Mint comes out.
Because I think a lot of people, it's like not to say it in a negative way, right? Because everyone's like so negative in crypto, like, oh, show this, show that. But like what's quite important, right, is that people understand that there is a better way to create tokens and for people to use something that doesn't like screw over their community. I think that's quite important, right? Like the community needs to understand that this is something that they have there, because like otherwise we're gonna see situations where people are gonna rug pull. I mean, we've seen that like that was like happening a lot during the whole DeFi season, where people would just launch a coin, they'll create millions of coins out of nowhere, right, and just dump on that community. Like that's like the worst part of DeFi summer, I would say. But you know, with liquidity locks, with something like Mint going on, like you know that the contract is safe and secure. So like that's the reason why you need to get it out to people, is because people need to know that this is possible. They don't have to deal with crap like these like scam rug pulls, right? I think that's the key here. So anyways. All right, we got one question from CG Chen. It says, how does Jeff have time to climb mountains? I asked myself that. I asked Jeff that. I'm like, Jeff, how? Please explain to me.
You just got to climb them quick. Everyone can find it. You got to find 1 hour up and down, then you're done.
Yeah. So Hacksters as well, it says, tell what's hard to tell. Okay. So full disclosure, of course, with Hackstore, like on this channel, whatever's pay or whatnot. So I'm an advisor to TrustSwap. I've been trying to help them along for the whole ride. So I mean, full disclosure there for everything. But that's the whole point of the space. We want to grow, right? So anyways. Okay, so next up, so John, do you have anything excited for you are excited for?
Man, so I got a couple of things to show. So on
I love that.
Side, so personally, during like last week's dip, I bought Solana and FTT. Solana in particular, I'm really bullish on because there's this impossible triangle, right? So in the case of Ethereum, it's like you have three choices, right? Scalability, you have decentralization, or you have security, right? And I think that ETH, they have decentralization, they have security, but they don't have scalability. That's why we pay such high gas fees. BSC, they have security, they have scalability, but they don't have decentralization. Whereas in my opinion, Solana is like the first blockchain that can really solve all three potentially. And I'm really happy how much it's pumped to. I bought in like the low 20s and now it's like in its 40s. Like, yeah, keep it going, guys. So that's kind of like, you know, I'm still on a personal note. You know, I did buy these tokens during the dip. I'm a big supporter of like, you know, anything SPF touches. So that's
so
kind of like
you drank the SPF Kool-Aid. You drank the SPF Kool-Aid, like
I drink the Kool-Aid, I make the Kool-Aid, I spill the Kool-Aid.
Okay, all right. But why? But okay, so I mean, obviously this is happening. I think we need to invite SPF back to show his stuff. But the Solana narrative is becoming super strong. Right? I think that's completely the case. Like on Twitter, I've nonstop been seeing Solana. Like all the Chinese funds are showing it because like it's becoming. I guess it's like is there reasoning behind that too? Like I see a lot of the Chinese into it. I see a lot of the funds all showing it. Like why? Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think it's just like this kind of cult following he's developed. You know what I mean? And it's kind of with like good reason. He seems like, you know, a good guy, easily to like relate to. Not like he's pretty humble. And I think there's just all the projects he's done so far, like easy to get behind, right? So I think that it's just kind of like this, you know, like almost like a messiah. Like people are like, oh, he's gonna save us, he's gonna save cryptos, you know what I mean? So so that's just kind of like my personal show. So I got a couple more shows on the GBV side as well. So kind of scripted shills,
Put
but
SPF in there.
yeah. I mean, he's
He's the
easy to
savior.
get by.
He's the savior.
His hair has risen.
His hair has risen. Oh my god. I mean, okay, you say he's easy to relate to, but he's like another stratosphere of like high IQ plays, right? Like this guy is like nuts. I think he made like $10 billion over the
That's just
last 3 years.
like official net worth. I mean, in cryptos, it's
Oh,
just like
right,
you have a
right,
good day,
right,
and that
right.
could be like 10x that, right? Like it's like, oh, the Solana pumped like 3x.
Right.
Right.
I mean, he works hard. I definitely think he works hard. He's one of those guys who works scarily hard. I've been to the he literally sleeps in the office, right? It's
Dang.
insane. So Sam Bankman-Fried is the CEO of FTX. He runs FTX Exchange, Alameda Research. Alameda Research is just they're heavily investing. Like they're super bullish in this space. And I think the biggest show I've heard. All right, so I mean, obviously, this whole week I've been hearing good stuff about Solana and stuff. I mean, like and SPF, but you're like, what was it? Well, what was the quote? I'm gonna quote someone that you might know, John, but I'm gonna quote him here. I'm not gonna credit him to embarrass him, but I'm gonna quote him here. But he's like, if scams can make billions, right, then legit project can make trillions. Right, that's his take on this space, right? I mean, he's like fully believing that this is super legit. That's going on. Jeff, on your side, do you have any plans to launch on Solana or make your stuff compatible with Solana?
100%. Yeah, we're going cross-chain with everything, token locks, mint, everything. So that's the goal. Especially with Smart Launch, which is the mint, the liquidity locks, the token locks, which creates like an entire security trifecta. The goal is to be available on every single blockchain. So you can mint a token, whatever chain you want. You can even mint it on multiple blockchains, and it's pretty much unruggable or unscammable. So that's the vision for sure. We'll take it step by step, though.
Nice. So moving back to John, giving you some attention. What other projects are you super interested in right now?
Okay, so this is kind of more on the GBV side. Don't have as much personal vested interest. Still a vested interest, though. No financial advice. So do you remember last summer there was a project called SakeSwap? So they've kind of we were kind of working with them more on like the marketing side last summer, right as the DeFi summer ended, right? So they kind of like launched right at the worst possible time. So they went from like $3 to like pennies in the span of like 2 or 3 days. It was pretty tough times for them, just not based on tech or anything like that, just purely based on like poor timing. And they're developing kind of a new platform called Sake Perp. And this is the first derivative exchange on BSC, right? So it's like a DEX on BSC that you can trade perps on. And I think that they have always had really good tech. And this time it's kind of like them rising from the ashes and offering something that's truly unique, especially with the popularity of BSC rising. I mean, TVL and transactions now surpassed Uniswap. So that's kind of one project I'm following pretty closely just to see kind of how
I just brought that on the screen here so you can just see the cratering that happened. So obviously it launched as a farming project. I definitely farmed SakeSwap. But man, was it brutal! Like going from $1.90 all the way down to like 4 cents. Like it was during the end of DeFi summer, right? So they just cratered for a while. But the crazy thing is they got a good team, right? Like I actually spoke to the team as well. So I guess John, I would have to want to slap you for leaking alpha here, but
hey, this is like I said, this is kind of like scripted shills that I've been told to shill up on like the GBV side. So I've got permission to shill this. So I mean, anyone watching this, there you go, a little bit of alpha. I think that this is kind of like a phoenix rising from the ashes. If you look at like the Bitcoin to altcoin season index, like the crash lines up almost perfectly with what happened in this big cratering back in September. So I think they're doing some really interesting stuff. Good team, of course, like great tech, but just kind of poor timing when they initially launched SakeSwap. I mean, you can't really time the market though, right? Mm-hmm. Another project that we're looking at, working with pretty closely is AstroTools. We did Nathan and I actually did a talk with Rowan recently. And what's cool about them is that they provide almost real-time data in comparison to DEX tools, which if you don't kind of use their paid platform, there's like up to like a 2 or 3 minute delay or something like this. But Astro tools also, they basically connect data from not just Uniswap, but also PancakeSwap. So you get like these kind of little granular details that DEX tools doesn't have. And I think they're also providing like a lot more services along the lines of like chain analysis for a DEX tools like platform. So I think that they're really cool. Great team. There's a lot of potential here. Still quite young. I'm pretty sure I showed this to you a couple weeks or a couple months back.
Yeah, you were talking about this nonstop. John is super excited. You know when he's excited, when he just talks to you nonstop about a particular coin. I think that's the beauty of it. But that's the best part about crypto, right? Like there is a lot of passion in the space, and I think that's the best part. So, all right.
And my last one is Super Farm.
Wait. We'll give you last one. We'll give you the last one. Super Farm. Super Farm. All right.
Yeah. And I mean, Super Farm, I mean, beyond the kind of NFT side of things, I think the fact that they're building a AAA game using kind of blockchain as the backbone is something that's truly unique, because all the kind of NFT games out there right now don't really compare to anything you see on Steam or like Overwatch, like any of these games that people really want to spend a lot of time playing. So outside of the whole kind of collectibles, the fact that they burned a Banksy and minted that into an NFT, which is all very cool, kind of in line with like the trends, the fact that they're building a AAA game. And it looks like, Elliot actually
the art looks great. The art looks great so far. It looks amazing.
So Elliot has a background in game development. So I think if anyone can do it, it's probably him. So I'm very bullish. I actually haven't, apparently they have a beta test for the game on Steam. So I actually haven't seen it myself, but I hear very good things. So if anyone can do it, I think those are my 3 GBV shills outside of my personal shills for TT and Solana.
Awesome. I mean, it's hard. I think like you gotta get like. I think it's the right approach, like having the right game designer to come design something. Obviously, I think it's gonna be a super hard task. Like, I feel like designing something fun and plus blockchain has been the biggest hurdle, right? Like this is why we still haven't seen a kind of mass market appeal like Fortnite with blockchain yet, right? Because the problem with like I hate this when people pitch this to me, because I get a bunch of people talk to me about video games, but I like coming from the video game industry, I absolutely hate it, because first of all, Fortnite doesn't want to have tradable assets. That's the whole design, right? From the core design of Fortnite is that they don't want items to be traded. Now, if you want to come to, and because like, it's just for monetization reasons, like they basically want to sell you their seasonal items. They want you to not be able to retrade that to your friends, because that would decrease their profits. And the reason why they squeeze profits out is because they need to achieve a certain average revenue per user. So like that's like the key statistic that you want. Like they want to reach a certain ARPU goal. Right? If they don't reach that goal, what happens is that they won't have enough money to pay for advertising. They won't have enough money to pay for development. They won't. It's going to be problematic for the game in the future. So that's why, like, we all view the executives on top as the evil people behind gaming companies trying to monetize and squeeze everything out of players. But at the same time, like, you have to pay for the game somehow, right? If the game is free to play, then they need to figure out a monetization model, and that monetization model revolves not trading items, right? Because if you allow people to trade items, like I'll buy an item, I'll play around with it. If I get bored a week later, I'll sell it to someone else, have a nice life, right? So I think that's the hard part. But what I think is that's necessary for gaming is like just designing core games around trading. And that's happened before in the past, right? Diablo 2, if you guys played that, there's a huge trading economy, and making that trading economy work is the challenge. So anyways, that's my pitch. I mean, like not my pitch. It's more of like what I feel like is necessary for this industry, because like gaming is massive, right? 2 billion gamers in this world, right? That's like a majority of this world population are gamers. Like, this is of course counting people who play Candy Crush and everything, but people love to play games, and we're moving into a more entertainment-based economy. So, like, I definitely want to see this going somewhere. So, anyways, that's my last bit.
Because you've been an engine for aeons. Aeons, you've
Aeons.
been in it.
Aeons.
And finally, I mean, finally, the payday has come. So congrats to you for those diamond hands on Engine. So where do you see, the ideal where you're getting in on Engine? You're like, okay, here's what I envision for the future of crypto gaming and blockchain integration. Because you've mentioned, and I agree with your statements, that these tradable assets might not be economically viable.
And the reason why Jeff says this, right, is because when we hang out, I'm like, Engine, just get into this nonstop for like 2 years.
I remember
for 2 years. So probably like ever since launch, I was like, dude, like NFTs, right? Like I was like so early into NFTs before NFTs were cool, right? But yeah, finally had that big payday. I mean, holy crap, man! Like I've held since like 2 cents. Right, like I'm like these guys are doing some crazy stuff, and it's hard. Like there's some good parts and bad parts. So like I'll be like the most rational person here about this, right? Like so Engine already had a big community from their launchpad, their Minecraft platform, right? And getting gamers to use NFTs it's not easy. It's not the simplest thing because you need to have this is the exact problem I was saying before. You need to have the game designed around these items, and obviously you need to make sure they adopt it. And it's not easy. Like I think Engine is proof that it's not easy, but perseverance pays off. Right? It's a situation where this is something that will only get stronger. Like this year, I think there's a lot more clarity to this space. I mean, I think so. Oh, sorry, just throw me. I throw that out there. I'm just trying to manage this, but I think there's a lot more clarity in the space as well because all of a sudden we have all these new possibilities. Like, what if we can collateralize an NFT? Like, what if we can put that as an asset? I think like that's something that's we never even dreamed of all the way back in 2017. Right. So I feel like a combination of a very good trading marketplace for NFTs and a very good use case in video games, that's what's going to be bringing the next like 2 billion people here. Like, absolutely. If you can like play a simple game, even like if you play a game like Candy Crush and you can get something very cool and collectible and trade that, it's just about thinking about how to make it attractive and interesting for everyone involved. And also, of course, making the transactions cheaper too. I think that's also key. So like Engine, they're launching Efinity. So that's going to just take the scaling to the next level. So anyways, there's plenty of stuff going on there. But yeah, it's crazy.
And I agree with borrowing and lending of NFTs. Kind of the one question that I have is, let's say you essentially wash trade an NFT back and forth 20 times for $1 million. How do you? That's where I kind of see like the glaring hole in the collateralization of NFTs.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of challenges. Like that's absolutely an issue, right? Because like the one thing is that NFTs are making headway for some good and bad reasons, right? So you see like these insane volumes traded, insane prices for some NFTs, but you have no idea if this is legit or if it's like what you're saying, wash trading. And it's hard. It's hard to do analysis. It's more transparent, I would say. Like I say that, in the art market, it happens all the time too, right? In the traditional art market with fine art, there's a good video describing how this works. Basically, what they do is they find an artist that has a limited series of art. Then they hire PR people to write praising, glowing reviews of this artist. One rich person will buy the entire series out. Right. And what they'll do is after 2 or 3 years, they'll put one item of that series, like one out of 16. And then they'll list it on Christie's or Sotheby's and they'll auction it off. How it works is that they'll proxy someone to buy it for a certain set amount of price. So they'll buy it themselves. Yeah. Right. So they'll be like, oh, let me buy my own art. But, it won't be transparent like that. Right. They'll buy their own art. And why they would do that is because they own the other 16 pieces. Yeah. Right. So now their collection, right? It's now maybe they bought it for 100K each, right? So they spent 1.6 million on it. But 3 years later, they'll do this auction. They'll sell one item, maybe like the shittiest piece of that item. They'll sell that for $1 million. Now their entire series is worth $16 million, right? So they have paper gains, and then the magic part here is like, how do you realize those paper gains? Well, by donating that to a museum, right? you donate that to a museum and you get the tax credits for that, right? Because you're a charitable person, right? So then because you're such a charitable person, you're donating, one piece of your 16 series collection, and each of these pieces are worth $1 million, right? You donate that to the museum. The museum is happy to receive it and say, oh, and praise you, right? Praise you. You're the most generous person. You get those tax deductibles for that. And everyone on this chain, so everyone benefits, right? So you got your Christie's and Sotheby's, they benefit because they have a 25% transaction fee, right? They charge you 25% on the art for the auction, right? And you practically just bid it yourself, so you pay that, but whatever, right? Because you're gonna gain from the tax later. The museums love it because the museums get free art, and they get, they're good, and you get tax credit. So like apparently that's how the rich people play this game. It's so messed up. Like when I learned about this, I was like depressed. I was like literally depressed at how messed up it is. So I hope the crypto side can change that. Like it's much more transparent on the in terms of like where the money is going, and how that works. But apparently, that's gonna be a part of this. And I feel like we need to devise systems to prevent this type of like kind of pure manipulation. But I think being on blockchain, being transparent helps. I think that's one of the issues here.
That's pretty smart, actually. Dang, that's like
your notebook is full.
Yeah, IQ plays right there. Dang.
Galaxy brains, guys. Galaxy. I don't know. That's fun. But anyways, let's should we wrap this session up, guys? I think we have. I think we're pretty much at the end of our stream. Do you guys want to give any last shout outs to anything that you guys like in particular?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me. Like, I actually really enjoyed the stream. We should kind of do this every week if you guys are down. Like, it's pretty fun. It's different from like my style of videos. My style is just like sit there, shoot it, and edit for like 34 hours. Like just like sit there in front of the computer and edit, and Adobe Illustrator, Adobe After Effects. And this is kind of like a breath of fresh air. You don't really have to stick to script or anything. It's just fun. So I'd be down to do it again. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. And Jeff, do you want to have any final last words? Anything people check out? Key dates for us?
I think we talked about it a little bit with Mint on TrustSwap. That's where my whole world is right now with TrustSwap. And then we have a pretty big mobile app acquisition coming. Actually, it'll be pretty cool. It's a crypto app that has 1.5 million users, and so TrustSwap's going to buy that out and integrate it with our ecosystem. So that'll be a really cool play. So look for that to happen within the next 7 days or so. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
That's oddly specific. Okay, that's great. Awesome.
Awesome. You asked for dates. I gave dates.
Epic. And John, on your side, any cool events happening?
Oh man, we're doing our Clubhouse every Friday. We got one this Friday with you and the Happy Hacking DDoS guys. But yeah, no, I just want to echo what Nathan said. I really appreciate you putting this together. I feel like we got to hang out a lot more during the bear market. Now it's just everyone's so busy. So yeah, if you ever want to do one of these again, feel free to send an invite. Always happy to learn from guys like you.
Definitely. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's a little bit rough around the edges. I was like trying to click on these screens and try to make sure that they work. But I hope the show turned out well for you guys who are watching this. I hope it was enjoyable. And of course, just really want to thank everyone coming in, asking questions, and everyone. And I hope to do this more regularly. So expect this to come on every Wednesday. I think that makes sense. Like Wednesday my time, Tuesday on the other side of the world. But I hope to do this more regularly and just chat with you guys what's going on, make it a lot more casual. I feel like this is the way to do content. So I really appreciate you guys watching, chatting with us, posting comments. Obviously, we're going to get better at this in the future as well, because this is my very first time using this. So I'm glad it worked out. Like, I'm glad we actually had a stream going. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching, guys. See you guys next time.